story time. A girl named Akira Kendrick sent me this story, and the background of it is that her dad was very abusive to her mother, and her mother got custody of Akira, and her dad was not happy about that. Anyway, so Akira was with her aunt and her cousins at her grandmother's house, all on her mother's side, and her dad stops by to say hello. And Akira's outside playing with her cousin, and her dad comes up to her and grabs her arm and says, "Do you want to go to Walmart with me?" And at the time, she's only 7, so all she hears is toy aisle, so she says, "Yes, let's go." So they get in the car, they head to Walmart, she gets some really nice pom-poms, and then he says, "Okay, let's go back to your grandmother's house." So he starts driving and he gets on the highway, and Akira knows that her grandmother's house is right around the corner from Walmart, so he does not need to get on the highway. So she says, "Dad, where are we going?" And he gets really mad and says, "Shut up, sit down, it does not matter." So Akira's in the back seat, she's really scared, and she just shuts her mouth. So after being in the car for a while, they eventually arrived at this really old, abandoned, beat up house. And when they walk in, Akira sees about 25 people and she does not know any of them. Her dad brings her to a room, puts her in a little closet, throws her some toys and her pom-poms and says, "Play." Part 2 is coming right now. Part 2 of Akira's dad literally kidnapping her. So when they get to the house, Akira is really scared. She doesn't know any of these 25 people. Her dad brings her to a room, throws her in a closet, puts some toys in there and says play. So after about an hour of being in a little closet with some toys, she finally decides to get up and go look for her dad. So she opens the door and starts looking around, and there is no one in the house. There is not even a single trace of somebody ever being there. So of course she starts freaking out and crying. She doesn't know where she is. She's so far away from her grandmother's house, and she doesn't have a phone. And so eventually, after 3 hours, she hears somebody. She looks up and her dad is standing there, and he says, "Come on, let's go, the cops are outside." So basically Akira's aunt called the cops and they had a search warrant for him. They ended up finding her dad and they said to him, "If you don't take us to her, you will go to jail." And obviously from what I just said, he finally took them to her at this random old abandoned house and they found her. And they ended up putting him in jail anyways, because why not? 2 years in jail and 1 year on probation. Don't steal children, people. Don't steal them.
So when I was a sophomore in high school, I had this teacher who would only let the students in her class use the restroom one time per semester. Well, one day I raised my hand and I was like, "Excuse me," I don't remember her name, "can I please use the restroom?" And she was like, "No, you can't, because you've already used the restroom in my class this semester." Well, excuse me, you can't dictate my bladder. So I'm all frustrated, and I started secretly texting my mom because I wasn't allowed to use my phone in class. And I was like, "Mom, I'm sitting in class right now, my teacher won't let me use the restroom." And she was like, "I'll take care of it for you." And I was like, "Okay." So 5 minutes goes by, and all of a sudden my teacher's phone starts ringing, and she walks up to it and answers it, and she's like, "Hello?" "Yeah. Okay, thank you." And then she walks up to me so angry, and she slams the pass on my desk, and she was like, "Since you have to go that bad." And I was like, "Yeah, I really do, thanks." And I got up and left. I didn't even have to go to the bathroom. It was just the principle of it. I just roamed the halls.
Story time! Okay, so I have gone to multiple schools throughout my life, which means I have ran into all different types of teachers. So when I was 15, I had this English teacher, and she was new to the school, but I think she was also a brand new teacher. She had just graduated school to become a teacher. And I remember when I first met her, me and her got along really good, but then she kind of started acting like a puta. So we'll just call her Mrs. P for that reason. So because she was a new teacher, people would literally come in and grade her. I don't know if you guys ever seen it, but whenever there's a new teacher, people from the school board or whatever would come in and they would examine the teachers and make sure they're doing their job right. And I remember one day she was like, "Hey, there's some people coming in tomorrow, so if you guys can behave so I can get a good grade, I would really appreciate it." So fast forward to the next day, I'm in her class and I thought everything went well. It was a little old white lady that was examining our teacher, and she seemed really mean, but she never said anything the whole time. She was really quiet. So after the teacher finished her lesson, she was like, "Okay, do your thing, get into your little groups and finish the assignments." So that's exactly what we did. I got into my little mini group of 2 other girls, and we talked and worked on our assignments for the rest of the class. And like I said, I thought everything went well. I saw no problem with what happened during that class period. So then the next day, I had missed that class. I don't remember exactly why. I might have been ditching, pero quién sabe, I'm not sure. So I remember I was walking in the hallway, and then my friend comes up to me and she was like, "Oh, Stephanie, I need to tell you something." Yeah, I was like, "What's good? Tell me what happened." And she said, "Okay, well, Miss P got a bad grade." And she said that the little old white lady said that she needs to learn how to control the 3 Mexicans in the back. Those 3 Mexicans being me and my 2 other friends. Okay, so my friend had told me that the little old lady told my teacher that she needs to learn how to control the 3 Mexicans in the back, and that she got a low score because of the 3 of us. She never blamed anyone else except for the 3 of us. And my teacher was literally announcing this to the entire class. So I wasn't there, and the 2 other girls in my group weren't there either, so none of us could stick up for ourselves. And then the teacher proceeded to blame me for everything. My friend told me that she was like, "This is Stephanie, it's Stephanie's fault, blah, 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 blah." And then And my friend told me that she was mad because our teacher let the little old lady call us the three Mexicans. She just felt like it was wrong, and she was like, you guys have names, you're not the three Mexicans in the back, like that's just racist. So then the next day I ended up going to class, and my teacher ended up blaming me for everything in front of the entire class, even though we literally did nothing wrong. I did defend myself, and I told her, I was like, I didn't even do anything, why are you tripping? But she was just straight that it was my fault, and she blamed the other two girls too. Pero no tanto, like she had more of a thing against me, and then that was the end of it. After that, I lost full respect for her. She was already pushing it, but at that moment I was like, no, ya te pasaste, like this is too much. I don't know if she's still teaching, but I really hope she isn't. She was literally one of the worst teachers I have ever had, and her allowing that basically says everything about her.